little bit of a pivot. I heard this phrase of yours, unbreakable energy. I'm not quite
Mhm.
sure I know what that means. So why don't you help us understand what that is? And I mean, it sounds appealing to me because I feel like I'm tired all the time. So like, I could use some unbreakable energy. What is that?
So I define unbreakable energy as being able to pursue the passions you want to pursue, where you find more, I call them soul satisfying activities, where when you do the things, you just light up. And you can tell a huge difference in either the person or the people you're with. And also being able to nourish our bodies and minds so that we they are appropriate for the chapter of life we're in. So like the same forms of exercise, the same forms of nutrition that worked when we were 30 may not be working for us when we're 50, 60, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So, and accepting that and just saying like I'm in a new chapter in my life, because here's what's inevitable. What I tend to find with my clients, because I worked with mostly moms, is you cannot control how much sleep you're going to get. You can't control like if your kid's going to get sick. You can't control if you are going to be deemed full-time chaos coordinator of the week, right? Because
mm-hmm,
all of these things are happening. And so, what really matters and what really gives people energy, and I've seen it, is when you have that inner light inside, because you are taking care of your needs, you're taking care of your mental state, you're taking care of your physical state. You're fine. You're going after your dreams. You're going after those passions.
mm-hmm.
And moms are like the biggest audience where we don't do that for ourselves because we get really caught up in taking care of our kids.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I have my own story with this actually. I, I had my first, I've got two girls, and I had my first girl. She is now 6. So 6 years ago. And all moms know that your life changes with that first baby, especially because you are now so experiencing emotions that you've never experienced before. You literally love this little being so much, and you just dive full like full head on into this role of being a mother. And I was working full time at that time, and I loved the role of motherhood so much, and I immersed myself in all of the roles that I just completely let myself fall by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really stressed out, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to do a good job, and I wanted control over all these things, which makes me laugh. Even that word control makes me laugh a little bit, being a mom. And I started to develop health issues. I started to have a lot of digestive issues because I couldn't, my body was in turmoil constantly. And I started to reflect that. This all came to a head for me when I had my second and COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting her to bed one night, and I was, there's clothes everywhere, dirty diaper over here that I needed to throw away. My hair was like on another level. I don't even know. And I was like, I was breastfeeding. So like my clothes were like stained, and I'm sitting there just exhausted. And I put her to bed, and I was just like, I wonder how someday, if my daughter becomes a mom and she decides to have a family, how is she going to react to motherhood? How is she going to deal with the things I deal with as a mom? And I want her to live out her dreams. Like, I want her to go after her career that she wants to go after. I want her to live out her passions and live this like zestful life. And the words show her just popped into my head. Like, we literally have to be examples
Mm-hmm.
for our
Mm-hmm.
children. And so from that point forward, I was determined to put myself back together. And I have devoted as a professional putting other people back together as well, because I've like I said, I've been in the health and fitness industry for almost 10 years. which is kind of interesting that I fell into this role and these habits, and nobody's immune to them, right? So I started with my basic needs and I worked my way up. And one thing I started to do again was find my passion. And I didn't even know where to start looking. Like I was like, I don't know what I have time for.
Mm-hmm.
Like what, so I spent a lot of time with my spiritual beliefs and my faith, and I spent a lot of time journaling. I spent a lot of time just like asking him like what is something that I would really love to do. And when I was little, I used to horseback ride a lot, and I really missed it. I loved horses. That love of horses never went away.
Mm-hmm.
So I had always told myself no so much to horses that I forgot. I forgot that I actually like horses. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah, I just like I just put it in the back of my brain and just didn't think about it. Like I was just like, that's not possible for you. You're a responsible adult now. You have all these chores and blah blah blah, whatever we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? Stop telling yourself no. And if you are going to tell yourself no, at least say it with conviction. So I looked up places to horseback ride, and there's a ranch about 25 minutes away from here, and they have lessons for a reasonable price.
Oh,
So
wow.
now I started going every Friday, and I don't always make it, right? Because being a mom, things come up. But I go every Friday, and I go for a couple hours, and it's like the best thing ever. And in addition to horseback riding, I have devoted more time towards reading, things that are more nourishing for my mind instead of just like sitting there and scrolling through social media. I've tried to be really intentional about that. Um, so yeah, I've developed this process as a coach where I had to take myself back to school, and I myself went through the process, right? So now I want to help other moms get there too, because I want them to find that light back inside when things feel kind of gray and dull and you just feel like
Yeah.
you're doing the daily grind, as so to speak.
That's a hard no.